12 Years a Slave movie review. The movie 12 Years a Slave takes place in the period before the Civil War, the antebellum. The story focuses on Solomon Northup, an African American in upstate New York. He is a musician who performs in the North. He lives with his wife and children in Saratoga. Solomon is introduced to two men named Brown and Hamilton, and they claim to work for a circus. They want Solomon to perform at one of their shows. Both men join Solomon later for dinner. They drug him, and the next day he wakes up in a slave pen where he is chained up and told he's a runaway slave, even though he knows he's a free man. Solomon is transferred from slave plantation to plantation. At first, he was owned by a nice owner, Ford, who gifted him a violin for his hard work and efforts. However, he was sent away after one of the overseers was trying to kill him. The next day, a ruthless owner, Epps, who beat and assaulted the slaves, Solomon was condemned to that plantation for many years. Later, he meets a kind man, Bass, who hates slavery. Solomon asks him to deliver a message for him, so he does. Later, Solomon's music company comes to rescue Solomon. He is later reunited with his wife and now fully grown children. The movie's accuracy to slave life is astonishing. Compared to shows such as Roots and movies such as The Amistad, it is superior in most ways. The movie focused on the illegal slave trade that happened to many free African Americans in the North. The movie demonstrated how plantation owners treated their slaves. Some were acknowledged them as human beings, while others saw them as objects. It demonstrated how the slaves were used for the purpose of the slave owners. It also focused heavily on slave life. We see how the African American slaves interacted with one another, how they were treated, and the torture they went through. I give it an A+. The movie, I believe, was perfect in almost every way. I believe this film could provide some better historical context to those not properly educated in their American history. Other than that, it did a phenomenal job. It does many things to bring the casual moviegoer, such as provide enough background information about Solomon's life. Like when he was captured, it was pretty heartbreaking. We again see the emotional heartbreak of another slave family being broken up. It was a recurring theme throughout the movie and demonstrates how ruthless slave trading was in the South. Another is the action sequences when the tension between the slave owners and slaves. Runaways were hanged, females were occasionally assaulted, and most slaves were whipped or even beaten. One scene was incredibly dramatic when Solomon was forced to whip a slave named Patsy. One final theme was the release of the captured free men. In the beginning, one captured slave was sent back to freedom, giving the viewer hope Solomon may be released one day. When comparing my movie review to other outside sources, reviewers gave this movie a 10 out of 10 over 100% rating. They claimed it was perfect in almost every way. It was described as one of the most intense depictions of slavery and the story is compelling, tragic, and tells the cruel captivity slaves were put through.